Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
It's a Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, baby, how's it going?
Super. How are you?
Good. You know what? You need more weekends because you look radiant on Mondays.
I mean, Thank you.
Yeah, something like that. Hey, in New England, a law firm hands out attorney trading cards.
Oh, funny.
With all their stats on the back, showing how many clients they've handled, how many cases they've won. That's actually kind of a cool idea.
That's kind of cute, I guess.
think we should think of other professions where they should have this. How about doctors? You know, how many patients they've had. How many patients have survived? I'm a doctor. Here's my trading card. Yeah, don't pay attention to the fatality column. That's kind of funny. So maybe radio people could have them. How many stories we've read without messing up? I would probably have a 0 on that right there. All right, coming up, we got a great program for you on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. It's the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com.
If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. So what do you have to lose? And if you're buying an RV, you got to find the great deals at RVWheelator.com.
Now back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's the John and Heidi Show, and I got an interesting story here. A Minnesota representative proposed a bill to encourage schools to ban fragrances at school. So you couldn't wear perfume, you couldn't wear cologne. You know why?
Because of allergies?
No, because teenage boys don't take showers. Instead, they douse themselves with Axe body spray or other. It could be any brand, but that's the one that's getting the bum rap on this particular thing. So they're taking showers in body spray instead of actually taking showers. And they think that it attracts the ladies, but
no,
I don't think that's the case. Because what they're smelling is, a mixture of whatever that is.
Yeah, there have
plus
been kids that have gotten very, very sick.
Yeah, I think there was a guy that was like he was hospitalized because he was using too much of this body spray.
Come on, kids, common sense.
A little bit of hygiene, and you don't. That way, you wouldn't need a state law in Minnesota.
Right.
Come to Minnesota. Our kids must really stink. It's probably not going to help. All right, coming up, we've got a really good story here talking about car alarms. Yeah, that's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Thank you so much for listening on a Monday. This is interesting. Have you ever had the alarm go off while you're cooking? Not your smoke alarm, your car alarm. That is what is happening every time Dean Johnson's family tries to make dinner. At first, they thought it was a neighborhood cat jumping onto their car, coincidentally at mealtime. They're like, well, maybe the cat smells the food and jumps on the car.
He's hungry.
Yeah, that's what's going on. But the high-pitched alarm was driving them crazy, and they figured that a cat would probably learn a lesson after a couple of times. It's got to be something else. Well, after a little bit of trial and error, work at the house, it turns out that the car alarm was being set off by their mother's microwave.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, the car alarm was working on the same frequency as the microwave.
Weird.
Dean now parks the car away from his house every time his mom is cooking.
Okay, so now how sad is that they're using the microwave every single night for dinner?
Well, maybe you're just warming things up. It's not necessarily they're making every meal in the microwave. But there are times...
Easy, Mac. Come on, family. Gather around the table.
You know what? If you're all sitting around the table, even if you're making the meal in the microwave, that's still better than if you're not eating together.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I agree.
I think, for me, some of my fondest memories happen around our dinner table.
Oh, of course. Always.
It's some of the funny things that we talk about. Now, I got to admit, in the Small family, that's our last name. It's John and Heidi Small. Our kids, our son's 18, our daughter's 13, and the two of us, we all have really weird senses of humor. So at our place, it gets kind of weird at dinner time. But it's so much fun. We have such fun conversations. And some of the things that we talk about, we've had guests that have said, you guys need a reality show. This is what your life is like all the time. But I can't imagine if every time we were sitting down for dinner, if our car alarm was going off.
Yeah,
I remember
that's
one
bizarre.
time I fell asleep on the sofa. and my keys were in my pocket, and I like rolled over, and the car alarm went off, and I woke up. I'm like, what is going on?
That wakes you up in a hurry.
I was trying to figure out what was happening, and I was like, why would it have been? I'm like, oh, my keys in my pocket. I'll bet I did that. So there you go. Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. That's on the way.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
This is your brain on drugs. A Russia man woke up with a splitting headache after a heavy drinking session to find a kitchen knife stuck in his face. Yikes! The man had invited a couple of friends over for a drink, but he went to bed early after he said, I'm really tired of hearing you guys complain. So he went up later that night with a splitting headache and went to the bathroom to get a glass of water. That's when he noticed a knife sticking out of his face just below his eye. After calling for an ambulance, the knife was removed in a 40-minute operation. He'll escape with only a small scar on his face. Police have confirmed that they found his friend's fingerprints on the knife.
Oh, my God.
So the friend that was complaining, and they were in an argument, and he's like, you know what, I'm done listening to you complain. I'm just going to bed. So he went up to bed. So I don't know if the guy came up afterwards and stabbed him in the face.
Oh, wow.
Or if he got stabbed in the face before he went to bed. But either way. They were drinking and having fun, and that's what happened. That's not my kind of fun.
No,
just for the
my
record.
God.
But this has been your brain on drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. If you're buying an RV, you can find great deals at RVWheelator.com. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Now your moment of duh. While you can't teach an old dog new tricks, there are some things that you should just never teach a dog, period. If insurance agents thought they had maybe heard it all before, they haven't talked to this lady. A woman identified as Li. She's from China. L-I. That's kind of a cool way to spell Li. Huh. She had a dog who was fond of crouching on the steering wheel and often watched her drive. Not thinking all the way...
That's very dangerous.
Yeah, not thinking this all the way through, Lee decided, I'm going to teach my dog to drive. She taught the dog how to operate the accelerator and the brake. According to a report, they did not make it far before, during their learning session, the dog crashed into an oncoming car. So, imagine that police report.
Oh,
excuse me, Lee, you were driving down the road. It wasn't me. Who was driving? Well, it was my dog, Spot. Spot was driving? Well, I was teaching Spot how to drive. That's what was going on there. That is just nuts. And now I think we've heard it all. Thanks for listening. Your scoop of the day is on the way.
The John and Heidi Show podcast is brought to you by DirecTV.
They have big-time savings going on right now, so you can sign up and save. Get all the details at 1-800-259-7646.
Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com.
Quite possibly the best way to buy an RV or to sell an RV. They're like a realtor for your RV. Check out RVWheelator.com.
And the Dollar Shave Club.
Get amazing razors for $1 a month, and for a few bucks more, they'll bring them right to your door.
Sign up today at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Now, your scoop of the day. A UC Berkeley study of 49,000 people found no connection between a low-fat diet and getting cancer, heart disease, diabetes, or even gaining weight. So they're saying there's no connection whatsoever to eating a low-fat diet. That's interesting. Job hunting. Saudi Arabia is advertising for 8 new executioners, recruiting extra staff to carry out an increasing number of death sentences, usually done by public beheading. So if you're looking for something to do, might want to swing on over to Saudi Arabia.
There's no way I could handle
I couldn't either.
Like that.
There's no way. I couldn't even watch that. When that stuff was going on in the news a while back, I couldn't even watch the footage that they were showing.
No, I will
was
say,
I can't. No way.
If somebody wronged me personally,
so
I could probably muster up not for a beheading, but I'd pull the switch.
I'm concerned because I'm married to her. When you say wrong you personally, what do you mean? You know, like taking the sheets while you're sleeping? I hope not. A Florida man is charged with a felony criminal mischief after deputies say he smashed a car which he thought belonged to his friends. He found out later that it was his friend's neighbor. He went to his friend's house. Oh, you got a new car, huh? Well, look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Beat the snot out of the car. And then the neighbor came out. He's like, what are you doing to my car?
Well, even if it was his friend's, why would he do that to his friend's car?
I think he was maybe mad. I'm not sure. All right. If you're too chicken to break up, you don't want to be the one to, be the bearer of bad news. Good news for you. There's a new service called Sorry It's Over, and it's created by a former nurse, of all things, because you wouldn't expect a nurse to be the one doing this, but apparently you can have your ex notified by email or text for $5.50.
Why not just send him a text yourself? It's still a chicken way out.
You can't.
I know, but that's what it is.
You can't say any of that on the radio.
Either way.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous way out of a situation. So just send it yourself. At least have the guts to send the text yourself.
I am concerned for the rest of this program. A Danish study suggests men who are obese by age 20 could die 8 years earlier on average than non-obese peers. So if you're overweight by the age of 20, you got 8 yet less years to live, according to that. A Serbian village is afraid of vampires. You know why?
Why?
Because their mayor has told people that vampires are real and you should stock up on garlic and crosses. This is part of his weird re-election campaign, I'm sure, saying that they're real. As a matter of fact, my opponent is a vampire.
That would be a good strategy, actually.
I think that's what he's up to.
Yeah.
Relaxation has been found to cause stress in some people. What? Yeah, relaxation causes stress. It sounds like an oxymoron. I think I am.
Yeah, you cannot rest.
University of Cincinnati found that so-called relaxing activities like deep breathing and yoga can actually increase stress and anxiety in some people. Psychologists have known that people get stressed at even the thought of relaxation in some cases. I might be one of those people. With over 2/3 of Americans and more than half of Canadians overweight, makers of bathroom scales are ratcheting up the high end of their scales capacity. The industry standard limit was somewhere between 270 and 300 pounds, but the Healthometer now is introducing scales with a top limit of 330 to 400 pounds. A spokesperson said 400 seemed a reasonable number, but if consumers need a higher capacity, we do have the technology to do it. So there you go.
They should just, at a certain point, it should just say tilt.
No, I can tell you.
I know you've pushed our scale to the limits.
I've been on a scale that I stepped on it, and I was all the way to the end, and I ran out. I was like, it said at the very end, it said, time for a new scale. I'm like, yeah, okay. Or a diet, one or the other. All right, our strange law from Wisconsin. It is illegal to cut a woman's hair, period. So women cannot get haircuts in Wisconsin.
So then there must not be any salons?
I'm sure that there are, but this is a law that's on the books
They've not taken it off.
Uh-huh. All right. That's going to do it for your scoop of the day.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by Rough Tough Kennels.
If you have a puppy or a big dog, Rough Tough Kennels has something that's just right for you. They have kennels that are strong enough that I can stand on top of them, but they're cozy enough for your furry little best friend. Learn more and see the different sizes available at roughtoughkennels.com.
That's RUFF. toughkennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening on a Monday. At this time, we typically have a guest. We'll talk to like an author, or we'll talk to somebody about some specific thing. And today
we have a special guest.
We do, and we've got Dr. Phil with us here. Dr. Phil, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much, John and Heidi. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm a longtime listener of your show, and I just love hearing you guys every day.
Well, you're a friend of the program. We've had you on several times. It's nice to visit with you again. It's been a long time. How have things been?
Yeah, it has been a while. I've been very busy with my show, getting a lot of guests on and off my show. I'm at a loss for words, for crying out loud.
That's okay.
It's been so long, I don't know what to say.
Well, we're glad to have you on the program. We were going to talk to you about a couple of things. First of all, I have a story here that I think is kind of a funny story. It's the guy by the name of Carlos Marin. He's 20 years old, and he's in Miami, and he tried to rob a Dunkin' Donuts. But here's the weird part. First of all, that's not good right there. You don't rob a place.
Right.
But this is the weird part. Here's how he tried to rob the Dunkin' Donuts. He used a crumpled up newspaper that he kind of squished in the shape of a gun. Then he ran in with his shirt wrapped around half of his face, and he said, "You know what this is? Give me your register." Well, the clerk refused and said, "Get out of the store." So he ran outside. Then he came back in and he said, "Wait a minute. How are you going to describe me?" He was caught across the street from the Dunkin' Donuts just shortly after he left. So
we just wanted to get your take on that story, Dr. Phil. What do you think is wrong with this gentleman?
So, well, first he was robbing a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
A place frequented by police officers. First of all, that guy's an idiot. Number 2, he's an idiot for using a newspaper, a rolled up newspaper for a weapon.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking with our friend Dr. Phil about a guy named Carlos Marin. He's 20 years young, tried to rob a Dunkin' Donuts using a crumpled up newspaper as a fake gun. And then the weird thing, I still think, Dr. Phil, is when he left the store, but he came running back in and said, "How are you going to describe me?" Do you think maybe he meant, are you going to say I'm fat or I'm short?
Or Hispanic or something.
Right.
Carlos, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying only Hispanic people are named Carlos, but maybe he was.
Right.
Do you think maybe he was just egotistical and he wanted to know if they were going to say a handsome man was caught robbing a...
Oh, absolutely, yes. And, maybe he had six-pack abs because you said he pulled his shirt up over his face.
He was just showing off his physique.
How are you going to describe me? Well, I was going to say you're extremely...
I have six-pack abs, too, but, I just keep mine hidden better than others.
Well... Something else that Heidi wanted to talk to you about. Last week, it was in the news that Donald Trump is putting his name in the ring as far as one of the presidential candidates for 2016. And Heidi thought it might be kind of fun to visit with you a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, you talk about egotistical. Here we go. I mean, this man has no shame in throwing his hat out there, and putting his face out there and his money out there and just waving his money around and saying, "Hey, look at me."
Yeah.
Honestly, with the way his hair looks, maybe he should put that hat back on and get it back out of the ring. Put
it
back on his head.
I tell you what, I'm proud of my hair. I don't know why he isn't.
And that's
what
the
is
thing.
He covering up? Maybe his toupee or his wig is a symbol of him covering something up.
Well, he says it's real. So, I don't know.
Of all the things to be proud of, I don't think that's what I would, claim that it's real. You should be proud of this.
Right. And with all his money, he can't afford a better hairstyle. I'm shocked.
Well, I think now that's kind of what he's known as. People, that's his signature calling card. So I think it would be really hard for him to change that hairstyle.
Yeah, that'd be like you wearing a wig all of a sudden, Phil. You couldn't do that. You couldn't pull that off.
I couldn't. And I wouldn't. Like I said, I'm proud of my hairstyle. Most of it's gone to my upper lip, but it's okay.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking some time to chat with us. And would it be okay if we reach out to you once in a while?
That would be great. I would appreciate it. Like I said, I'm very sorry with the lack of communication we've had in the past, but I would like to reignite that.
Yeah.
If we could.
Well, and that's where Heidi was saying, usually when we don't have a guest, I'll do a second scoop of the day. And she's like, instead of doing that, we should reach out to some of these people we know.
I've been listening. I hear it when you do that.
Well, so instead of doing that, she's saying we're gonna go through the Rolodex and reach out to some friends.
That'd be great.
Well, it was good chatting with you, Phil. Have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.
Goodbye, Phil.
Goodbye.
All right. And again, our friend Dr. Phil right there on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1 plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, the 22nd day of June, which makes today Global Smurf Day.
Smurf Day. That's Smurfy.
It is very Smurfy, so have a Smurfy day. Today is also...
That word does not get used as much as it
doesn't.
should.
As a matter of fact, we should start using that every day.
I should start using it every single day.
You could
it's
tell
such
me
a Smurfy word.
You could tell me that all the stories I read are very Smurfy.
They are Smurfy.
Then I don't know if that's good or bad. They never really explained if that was a good thing. Stupid Guy Thing Day today.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. But stupid guy
Smurfy.
thing. It is pretty Smurfy. Baby Boomer Recognition Day as well. So that's where you go, wait a minute, hey, aren't you a baby boomer? I thought I recognized you. So all of those things are going on today. So have a Smurfy day while you recognize baby boomers while doing dumb guy things. On this, the 22nd day of June.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com. They only get paid if they help you sell your RV. If you're buying an RV, you can find great deals at RVWheelator.com. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
All right, Heidi, I've got a story here. Do you take this bride to the hospital?
Uh-oh.
Weddings with themes are becoming increasingly popular around the country, but I'm sure this bride and groom probably wish they would have picked a different theme. The bride and groom had insisted that their I-do's be done in the Old West theme wedding.
She gets shot.
3 of their wedding party fixed their 6-shooters to celebrate. Unfortunately, one of the bullets had a mind of its own, ended up in the ankle of the bride.
Oh, my gosh.
The first 2 hours of the couple's marriage was spent in the hospital getting a bullet yanked out of her foot. Or her, where was it? Ankle.
Can you imagine getting shot in the ankle? Oh,
That
my
would hurt.
gosh, that would be awful.
You know, I honestly wouldn't want to be shot anywhere. Not in the arm, the leg, not even in the pinky.
But the ankle, you've got so much movement right there. I mean, your upper thigh.
I can tell you.
You could probably take that. Your side.
One time.
Shoulder.
I don't want everybody feeling bad for me all at once here or anything, but I remember one time we had just gotten a new bed at this point, and we never had a bed that had like stuff on the end of it, and this one had stuff on the end of it, and I hit my ankle, and I don't know if you'd call it a footboard, but it was just kind of that. Remember the wooden, big, bulky, I don't know, it's a few beds ago, but I hit my ankle on it, I like skinned my ankle, and for like a week, every time I'd walk, I was like, oh, my ankle is killing me. So I know you're probably all, if you want to send cards and flowers, you know, don't, please. But I can tell you, that would be a bad place to get shot, because I grazed it on a footboard, and I was out for a week. Meanwhile, Heidi broke her ankle and she walked it off.
I did walk it off.
That's a true story. We're not even kidding.
No, now I have pretty miserable arthritis in that foot, but
it was,
who needs a doctor?
It wasn't until later they're like, you at one point it looks like you broke your ankle. She's like, oh yeah,
I did.
I walked that off.
I walked it off.
And the guy looked at me and said, it looks like you might have scraped your ankle on a footboard. Did you walk that off? I'm like, not really. No. All right, coming up, we got a fun story. We're going to talk about the Good News Network here in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
This is a cool story from the Good News Network, and it's about a man that's 78 years young. His name is James Harrison. He made weekly donations to the Australian Red Cross for over 60 years. The donations began in the 1960s. Thousands of newborns were born with rhesus disease. I'm not sure what that is. A condition where the mother's blood actually attacks the blood that she's in the baby that she's carrying. It was discovered that his blood carried a rare antibody that could prevent this disease. So he had this special type of blood. The Red Cross claims that his contributions have saved the lives of about 2.4 million babies, including 2 of his own grandsons.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That's pretty impressive.
So for those of you out there thinking that you can't make a difference, well, Mr. Harrison made quite the difference. 2.4 million babies. That's a lot.
That's pretty cool.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk about being overweight and how that helps maybe make your wallet skinnier. Not such good news, but it's on the way on this Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club.
You can get razors every month for just $1. And for $2 more, they'll bring them right to your door. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more.
That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Obesity hurts your wallet as much as it does your health, Heidi.
Okay.
Doctors have long known that medical bills are higher for people overweight, but that's only a portion of the real-life cost. According to George Washington University researchers, they added in things like employees' sick days, lost productivity, even the need for extra gas, because if you weigh more, you weigh your vehicle down. They found the annual cost of being obese is $4,879 for a woman and $2,684 for a man. Wait a minute.
Yeah, really?
Twice as much to be overweight for a woman? I don't understand that.
Why?
I don't know either. That is really weird. That's a big difference.
That is a big difference.
So I don't know if there's, I don't know. I have no clue.
Do they take more sick days? Or?
I have no idea. You know, I don't think I've ever taken a sick day in my entire life.
I don't think you have.
I remember one time
I've known you.
I went to work sick one time and they sent me home, but that was a bad day. All right, coming up, we've got more on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Firefighters in New Jersey are no longer allowed to go shopping or eating while on duty. Now, doesn't that just burn you up? Well, it's given them some heartburn. If your house is burning down, you call the fire department. Usually they make it in time and they save your home. Sometimes they don't make it in time and you lose everything. What makes a difference? Maybe it's because those firefighters were out shopping when they got the call. That's exactly what happened in New Jersey. First of all, I'm going to just, before we even finish reading this story.
This is for full-time employed
but I'm just
firefighters.
saying, if they came and saved your house, no matter what, thank you. But I'm going to finish reading this. Authorities say that the shopping trip did not delay the firefighters, though. And no one died in the fire. But because they want to appease the upset public, they're now banning shopping and eating out for firefighters while they're on duty. Of course, the union hates the idea. I understand. I hate the idea, too. So now you're saying, hey, you guys want to take a job being a firefighter, but while you're there, you have to just sit in this truck and let it idle all day and wait?
No.
Wow.
They live at the fire station when they're on
understand.
duty. So they have a kitchen, they have everything they need.
Well,
I agree with this, actually. If you're being paid to do a job, should you be out shopping? We don't get, if you're on the clock, most people don't get to leave their jobs to go shopping.
So when is all that stuff supposed to be done?
In their personal time when they're not working. So
they should be getting stuff in their personal time for work?
No.
Because they're bringing stuff back for work for everybody. It's not like they're doing their own personal shopping.
But does everybody need to be gone?
I don't think everybody goes to the store together.
Well, then how did they not get to the fireplace?
They did get to the fire, and nobody was hurt. That's what they're saying. This story, that's what upsets me about it, is they're saying, in this case, nobody was hurt, and they did get to the fire. And it wasn't that they even got there later than they normally would have. But they're saying, in the future, it could be a problem. So since it could be a problem, let's make a rule. I'm like, that just doesn't seem right to me.
I say send one designated shopping guy out that maybe isn't as good a firefighter as the rest of the guys and say, hey, you go get our groceries for the week. Here's the list.
Just don't wear your helmet while you're in there.
We'll be here playing cards till you get back.
All right, we got some more on a completely different subject on the way.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by Rough Tough Kennels.
If you have a puppy or a big dog, Rough Tough Kennels has something that's just right for you. They have kennels that are strong enough that I can stand on top of them, but they're cozy enough for your furry little best friend. Learn more and see the different sizes available at roughtoughkennels.com.
That's RUFF, toughkennels.com.
According to petrol company Jet, when you get behind the wheel, you're automatically sliding into a category of one of the following personality patterns. Are you mean Maureen, Heidi? Tight-lipped, avoiding eye contact, absolutely refusing to let anybody else into your lane? Is that you? Or could you be Terry the tailgater? You sits on your tail and tries to intimidate you, trying to get you to get out of the way. How about arrogant Andy? A queue jumper who zips up one side and down the other side, on the shoulder, whatever he needs to do to push in at the last minute. Did you just point at me?
That is you,
that is
for sure.
Not me.
That is definitely
How
you.
about Steve, the speedaholic, the person whose own ego will not let him slow down? Or Daphne, the ditherer, crawls along at a snail's pace, failing to signal clearly, stopping and starting at every junction and every roundabout. I think there's many categories they missed. Which one of those do you think you fit into?
I don't think I'm really any of those. Do you? Do I fit into any of those? I just follow the law and I just drive. Yeah. And I don't listen. I don't look at other drivers. There are many times I'm driving. People say, "I waved at you yesterday. You didn't wave back." Well, it's because I'm not watching people. I'm watching the road. I'm watching the other cars. I'm being a diligent driver.
Meanwhile, we'll be driving along. I'm like, "Did you paint that house?"
Yeah, I know.
She's like, "Would you please?" Like, oh, look at that. I love those flowers. Are those called peonies? What are those called? It's like, would you please watch the
road?
I feel like I'm in a movie. You never watch the road. I'm like, I watch the road. It's just a bunch of road. No, I'm not quite that bad. But yeah, it kind of peeves you. And you say you obey the laws. I remember you wiggling your way out of. You pulled off in the middle of a road where you're not supposed to park. She was going to turn around and an officer pulled in. And she's like, I was looking in my GPS. He's like, you're not supposed to pull in here.
Yeah, I was going to.
What address did you need? She's like, it's 714 8th Street. Yeah. All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. By the way, if that was your address I just said, completely a coincidence. She was really not looking for your house. She was really just going to turn around. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And the bonus break is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio, and they will send you razors every single month, or you can do like every other month. You get to, the cool thing is you get to be in control, or you can just say, I'm going to order them when I need them, so you don't have to get stuck on every single month. But it's a really cool program, and I use it all the time. It's just nice to have
the consistency, so you don't have to remember.
So you were telling me I had a...
I don't know how you manage to get these, like...
Big, long eyebrows?
I could braid your eyebrows sometimes. It's insane.
Is it way out there? Wow,
yes.
That is. It's kind of waving at you, isn't it? All right. Hey, got a couple of fun things that we're going to talk about. How about vacations? For those of you who need a vacation and you're looking for something out of the ordinary, pack up a suitcase and head out for the family vacation of the summer. You want to know some really cool places to go? How about the Atomic Bomb Crater? This is in Mars Bluff, South Carolina.
Really?
It serves as a metaphor for all of the wonderful thing about tourist sites. In 1958, a B-47 pilot accidentally dropped a bomb on a guy's farm.
Ooh.
It exploded, and the result was a ginormous hole that is now a really cool tourist attraction. So someday we'll have to go check that out.
I would like to see that, actually.
Next, how about the 5-story tall chicken? That's in Marietta, Georgia.
That I would have no interest in.
It's made of sheet metal, and it's 55 feet tall. What else is there to say? Not much. It's a giant chicken.
Why would...
People want to go see the big chicken. If you're a fan of big chickens, go see it. If you're not a fan of big chickens, don't waste your time.
Just don't get it.
Next, Flintstone Bedrock City. It's in Vail, Arizona. Visit a replica of the town the modern Stone Age family calls home.
I would go see.
Yeah.
I would go to that.
I have a phone number if we want to call and talk to any of these places, by the way. The Hall of Moses in Port Angeles, Washington. Admit it, you've always dreamed of one day having a myriad of forms of Moses that would gather all in one place. Well, dream no more. Ho Rainforest State Park is where to go. It's the Hall of Moseses. So there's a bunch of Moseses all hanging out there.
Alrighty.
Is it Moseses? Hall of Mosses.
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I put the E in the wrong place. I say that made no sense at all. You ever notice that I was
going to say that'd be extremely creepy to go to.
Even if I don't know what I'm talking about, I just keep on reading anyway. You put it in the prompter, and that idiot's going to read it.
We should call those people for an interview.
How many Moseses do you have? Let's try that again. The Hall of Mosses. Admit it, you've always dreamed that one day all the myriad forms of mosses would be gathered in one place. Well, dream no more, my friends. The whole Rainforest State Park has every kind of moss you could dream of.
That's hilarious.
The Ho Pet Casket Company. You can take a tour. It includes casket showroom and factory, and you can look at the prototype pet cemetery. How much fun could that be? Where are we going this summer for our family? We're going to the Ho Pet Caskets Company.
Wow.
We're going to get a tour, kids. How about Holy Land, USA? This is in Waterbury, Connecticut. Oh, by the way,
there may be a Moses.
Hang on. Whoa. I better go back. For those of you that wanted to plan a trip to the Pet Casket Company, it's in Gladstone, Michigan. I almost forgot to say where it was. I know that would have probably sparked thousands of calls today. So, all right, now you know.
We just don't have that kind of time.
I don't have that kind of time. Holy Land, USA, Waterbury, Connecticut. Religious shrines, dioramas, and statues galore, all done in a manner that brings to mind a religious Disneyland.
Yeah, this would be where you would find Moses.
There's a bunch of Moseses there, or at least one, I'll bet. I would bet $1 you'll find at least one Moses there. Maybe no more than one, but at least one.
Oh,
and finally, the Hair Museum.
Okay.
Yeah. Independence, Missouri. Weird things made out of hair. A haircut is actually included in the admission price, so they say. So you can go in, you can get your hair cut.
And then they're going to use your hair for something creepy
They'll take your hair, and you get a haircut, and you get to walk around and look at what we've done with other people's hair.
Turn it into some kind of a voodoo doll or something.
These are vacation places that they talk about. Now, I'm going to tell you about a place in my hometown. Huron, South Dakota has the world's largest pheasant. They talked about the world's largest, I don't know, they just said a 5-story chicken. but they've got a giant pheasant that if you drive all the way there, you can see it and be extremely disappointed.
Yes. And my hometown of Storm Lake, Iowa.
Wait. One other thing. If you're heading to Huron, South Dakota, on the way, stop by Mitchell, South Dakota for the world's only corn palace. Those are two things that you've got to see.
Yes.
And don't tell me when you're upset that you drove all the way here for them, because I'm just kidding when I'm telling you got to see them. And they're not bad. I don't want somebody from those communities calling and saying it's a bad thing that I made fun of it. I just think that, if we got nothing better to do than come look at a pheasant or look at a building with corn on it, you might need to reprioritize things. So, in Heidi's hometown is Storm Lake, Iowa.
Yes. A tree museum.
That is true.
Which these trees, okay, it's not like...
I'm pretty sure
those trees had been there my whole life. And then all of a sudden, one day, there's plaques. Oh, this one came from so-and-so's
So this tree
farm.
was planted
Johnny Appleseed.
from a seedling.
It's like, seriously.
From Abraham Lincoln's boyhood home. And you're like, oh, wow, that's
There's
really cool.
no way.
And then I walk over to this next
because
one.
those trees were there my whole life with no plaques. And then all of a sudden, plaques. Somebody walked along and said, we could say this one... It's just the most ridiculous thing.
A tree museum. It's right by a beautiful river in, what is it, Chautauqua Park? Or, by a beautiful lake. Is it Chautauqua Park? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Or Park, something like that. Anyway.
Or Sunset. Is it at Sunset Park?
I don't know. If you get there, just say, hey, where's that tree museum I've been hearing about on the radio? I mean, we talked about it last week, too. This is the second time in 2 weeks.
It's getting lots of press.
It's probably the most famous month that this tree museum has ever had. Because I don't think I've ever heard anyone else ever talk about it. But there are some things. And if you go to St. Louis, see, we're off script now. We're just talking about things we've seen. In St. Louis, and this really is cool, the City Museum.
That I would recommend very highly to everybody. If you go to St. Louis, you must see the City Museum.
We were there for something completely different. While we were there, we asked the people at our hotel, is there anything kind of cool to see? These guys got to kill some time while I'm at this meeting. And they're like, go to the City Museum. Now, with a name like the City Museum, it sounds about as boring as watching paint dry. But
not boring.
Heidi and the kids went. They had so much fun.
We went twice.
Yeah, they came back and they're like, you got to come see this.
Yes,
so I went with.
It was amazing.
It really is.
And I liked it so much that I saw on Facebook that a friend of ours was going to St. Louis, and I was instantly texting him and harassing him. Make sure you go to the City Museum. You're going to go, right? Are you going? Did you go to the City Museum yet? It was cool, wasn't it? Did you see it? Did you go to the museum? They went. They loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, there you go. We've done our part. For those of you trying to plan a vacation, you could go to, the Disney World or one of those things.
The Hall of Mosses.
Or you could go to the Hall of Moseses if you're illiterate like me. Or you could maybe check out a tree museum. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I think we are officially done now.